Hey friends, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey Hearties, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host Nicole, joined by my wonderful friend and guest co-host for the next 12 weeks to chat about When Calls to Heart Season 10. Of course, today we will be talking about episode 1, Carpe Diem. Here is the synopsis from Hallmark Channel's website. Hope Valley faces an economic downturn together. Meanwhile, Elizabeth and Bill learn that the children of Hope Valley have made a discovery that could change the town's future. I wonder what that could be.
I think we all kind of knew what it was before they told us.
Yeah.
But it was still really, really cute to see all of them like trying to keep the secret. And,
yes.
you know, like they'd come into school all wet and you'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, I know what you're up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were your first thoughts on this first episode for season 10?
I have to say I really liked it because it was very like community focused, but it wasn't like 20 different storylines like all happening at the same time. It was very like kind of like old When Calls the Heart.
Yes.
Where it was kind of just like very like coherent and it flowed really well, and I loved that. I love the new feel of the show. It's great.
Yeah, me too. Of course, there were a few things that I might have changed, but overall, I think it was a good episode. I love the vibe, as you said, of this season already, and I think we just need more Nathan and Allie.
I agree. You can never get too much of them. I think we need more, for sure.
Yes. To start off our review of this episode, why don't we talk a little bit about Elizabeth, Little Jack, and Lucas, kind of together and individually. They didn't really have any scenes together, the three of them, but individually they had some great scenes.
Yeah, I really liked actually kind of the direction they took them in this episode, because it was very like relaxed. It wasn't like, you know, every time they saw each other they were like, you know, kissing or you know, like there was a lot less of that and more of just them talking, which I actually really appreciate. It just shows their like kind of like their growth. Like they're kind of not, they're past the honeymoon phase at this point. And I appreciated that.
I did notice there wasn't as much PDA.
Yeah. I noticed that too. And I was kind of like, I was a little bit shocked by it, but at the same time, I was like, oh, okay, this is, you know, I can get comfortable with this. I like that, you know.
I think there were only 2 kisses in this episode.
I think so,
and then the one on the hand. Each hand at the dance.
That's true. Yeah. It was interesting. It was very like different, but I think that's going to be good in the long run, because then it'll make those moments all the more special. Like I actually really felt like their last scene where they're looking up at the Aurora Borealis, that was so sweet. I loved that, and I think it was because they toned it down the rest of the episode that scene felt really special.
Yes, I agree. I think that was a great way to kind of end off the episode a little bit, but we can talk about that when we get to it.
Yes. Sorry. I didn't mean to jump to the end there.
It's okay. No problem. But of course, like a lot of the seasons start out, we get a journal entry from Elizabeth, and this is one of my favorite parts of the show. Seeing Elizabeth writing in her journal. She says, over the past few months, one thing has become clear to me. No matter the challenge, the people of Hope Valley know how to come together. First, the coal mine was destroyed. Then the oil wells dried up. And then we lost the foundry, and with it, the promise of new jobs. But in true Hope Valley fashion, Florence, Molly, and Minnie started a swap meet so nothing would go to waste. Rosemary insisted that Lee hire everybody he could from the oil company and wouldn't let anything stop her from lending a hand, even though she's just a few weeks from giving birth. We've all rolled up our sleeves, relying on generosity and kindness and neighbors helping neighbors. Everyone has dedicated themselves to doing their part and having fun while they do it. As for us, Lucas and I have started planning for a fall wedding, and we're getting a lot of opinions, but we can't wait for the big day.
You know what surprised me about the journal entry was when she said fall wedding.
Yeah.
Because I thought initially that the wedding was going to be in the latter half of the season, but I was surprised when she said fall, because then I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's going to be in the second half. But they're planning for it as if it's like a couple weeks away, because you remember Jack and Elizabeth's wedding was like, they're like, oh, we're getting married in 2 weeks, and they did all of that in 2 weeks.
That's right.
But yeah, it's very different with Lucas and Elizabeth, because they're taking their sweet time getting this wedding ready, which is, that's what my family does. We take about a year to get weddings ready, so I understand that, and it just felt more realistic, I guess.
I think so too. And it also kind of took me back to, I think it was Hope Valley Days Part 1, I think, at the end when you're sitting by the fire and they're talking about a wedding and they mentioned fall.
Right. You're so right. Now that you say that, I remember, and okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, yeah.
So I think it was kind of a fun callback.
It was, yeah. They had a few really nice callbacks in this episode, and not just to season 9, but to like
the series,
old seasons, which I love that.
Which we can talk about. I think I called a couple of them. But I'm sure you could point them out too, if I forget.
Yeah, well, I mean, I noticed a few, but I'm sure you noticed more than me.
Yes.
You recently were rewatching season 1 and
maybe,
all the older seasons, so yeah.
But I think it was a great way to start off the episode with another journal entry.
For sure. And what I liked about this journal entry was that it didn't like try and fill all the gaps. Like it didn't like try to progress the story so much through the journal entry. It just kind of was like, oh, here's what's going on, Yeah,
exactly.
And it also got rid of the oil storyline, which I was kind of happy about. I mean, yeah. That I struggled a little bit with the oil storyline, and so I was kind of glad they just kind of like pushed it out of the way a little bit.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that brief little moment after the journal entry with Lucas and Jed Campbell talking about the beets?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Beets seem to be a theme of
this
the episode. Yeah. I would not be surprised if Rosemary dyed her dress purple with beet juice. I literally would not be surprised.
I didn't think of that, but now that you say it.
I'm just surprised they didn't say it in the episode.
I know.
Yeah, I was like, well, we could put all those beets to use because no one else is making them or cooking them or anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh,
but I thought that was really sweet of Lucas to, buy beets, even though Gustav is not using beets in his, his food. So I thought that was super sweet of Lucas, and
Mr.
Mike Hickam pointed it out, and Mike Hickham's hired in the saloon.
Yeah.
Interesting little detail there. Yeah. I think he's officially worked at every single business in town.
I think
except for being the Mountie. Oh, well, actually, he was Lee's deputy assistant, so even that he's worked everywhere officially.
I think so. I was just watching season 1, episode 10.
Yes.
Our first appearance of Mike Hickam. He was hanging the sign on the mercantile.
Yes. So he even worked in the mercantile. Oh my gosh. Has he worked in the cafe though? I don't think he's worked in the cafe yet.
No, I don't think
That's
he
the
has.
one place. Yeah.
Yeah. Not from what I can remember.
Yeah, that's so funny though. He's definitely getting there. He's getting very
Yeah.
close.
I think it was nice of Lucas to hire Mike as well. That was a really great gesture on his
For
part.
sure. For sure.
And I love how Lucas says it's the best decision I've ever made. Well, second best, as he looks at Elizabeth. That was really sweet.
That was very, very sweet.
Yeah. Lucas and Elizabeth outside the saloon. And I do like Elizabeth's line. It's hard to believe how far we've come in just a few months. It's hard to believe how far the show has come in 10 years.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I know the cast said, and different cast members in different interviews have said, like, there was a lot of reminiscing going on set and just while filming, and I can definitely feel that, like, as a viewer. You know, you watch that and you're reminiscing a little bit and you're like, oh wow, like we've really come a long way for sure.
Yeah. And I loved Lucas's quote as well, which is something his grandmother used to always say: eat well, laugh often, and love much. It was French, but I didn't write down the French translation.
It's okay. I know I would butcher the pronunciation anyway, so even if I wrote it down, I couldn't even try.
Yeah, but that's a great quote.
Yeah, and also Lucas speaking in French again. I think that's also a fun callback too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a while, so I appreciated that.
Yeah, I did too. This is one of my favorite moments, and it is Elizabeth in the classroom with her students, teaching a lesson on poetry and the meaning of Carpe Diem. This is another favorite part of the show as a whole, seeing Elizabeth with her students. That is one of the times she is at her best.
Yes. I say that all the time. And yeah, she's definitely at her best in the classroom.
Yeah.
One thing I did think was funny though is that in the season 5 finale, Rosemary actually teaches a lesson on Carpe Diem as well.
Wow,
but
forgot.
I guess because everyone had Jack on the mind, it's just nobody remembered.
I forgot about that. That's a good observation.
Yeah. So it's funny to me because Rosemary did teach that lesson already, but like I said, I guess everyone else was thinking about Jack and his death at that point. So
because I think that was the scene when Opal asked Rosemary if they could all still call her Mrs. Thorne.
Right.
I think, yeah.
That is the scene, yes. Yeah.
The little dialogue in this scene was hilarious. Elizabeth says, some of you may think that poetry can be hopelessly romantic or hopelessly boring. And Opal chimes in and she's like, and hopelessly hard to understand.
Oh my gosh. It's true though. I took 2 poetry classes in college, and the first time around I was like, I don't understand it. I don't get it at all. And luckily the second time around it clicked a little more. But I'm with Opal on that. It's very hard to understand poetry, especially without some kind of like commentary or whatever.
I've actually written a few poems and had a few published.
Really? That is so cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Wow.
But it was back when I was in like middle school.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Well done. Yeah.
I forgot how it happened. It must have been some kind of like contest or something that my school was doing.
Gotcha.
With a book that was being published. I can't remember for sure. One poem that I wrote, I can't remember if this one was published, but it was about Cheerios.
Oh my gosh. That is hilarious.
Close to the time that my brother had just been born. Like, I think he was maybe a year or 2 old.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember every single line, but I do remember the first 2 lines of this poem. And it said something like, Cheerios are so much fun. Babies like to eat them on the
run. That's so great. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh.
Funny story actually with poetry and When Calls the Heart. In college, I had a recitation where I had to memorize a poem and read it in front of class.
Oh
And the
goodness.
poem that I picked was Your Love is Like a Red, Red Rose. Because I was like, if it's there, you gotta go with it. But then my roommate, she changed the words to My love is like a dead, dead rose. And she changed all the words and we made it a huge joke. And then when I got up to the front of the class, I couldn't get her version out of my head. So I almost ended up saying that. I'm like, nope, nope, it's red rose, not dead rose.
Oh my gosh. And that's funny you should say that because I was just watching the Billy Hamilton
Oh
episode.
my gosh. No way. That's so great. Yeah.
Love is like a red, red rose by Robert Burns.
And there is no lie that I picked that poem specifically because it was from When Calls the Heart. I knew what I was doing.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah.
It's fun to write, but it can be very difficult.
Yeah. Poetry's not my thing. I've never been good at that. And I admire anyone who is. I
haven't written one in a long time.
Yeah.
But moving back to Hope Valley.
Yes. Took a little turn there with poetry, but it's all good.
Yeah. I love Sarah's line when she's like, Carpe whatty?
Yes. Was that her first line in
I think so.
Okay, yeah. Cuz her name is Remy in real life. She's such a good little actress, and we just want to say welcome Remy to the show.
Yes.
I already love her character. She's so sweet.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Also, Robert is such a good older brother, but we're probably about to get there. So
yeah, we're gonna get there soon.
Yeah.
And Angela, she says, I'm guessing it doesn't mean the carp are biting.
Oh. Yeah. Gotta love Angela's sarcasm there. Yeah.
And of course, Allie gets it right. It's seize the day. That's what Carpe Diem stands for. Mm-hmm. I also have to mention before we go on to the next scene, we get another new character, and it is Toby. He and Cooper show up late to school with wet clothes because of the said hot springs that will appear later on in this episode.
Yes.
No spoilers because everyone knows.
Everyone already knew going into it. Yeah. I am interested to know, like, who are Toby's parents? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I'm very curious because he must be new to the town from maybe the foundry or oil company. I'm not really sure, but I'm curious to know more about him. Like, who's his family? Who are his parents?
Yeah.
Who's he living with? I'm very curious to know more about him.
I hope we get to meet his parents sometime in the season.
Yeah, I'm hoping that too. That would be really fun, I think.
Lucas is planning a surprise, which will be the next evening at the saloon, and everyone is invited. And of course, he asks Minnie's help with said surprise. And Ned wants to know more.
Of course, because it's Ned.
I love Ned's enthusiasm. He's like, I want to know.
Well, he is married to Florence after all, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
Yes.
I always appreciate when Ned is like into the town gossip as much as Florence, even if he pretends Florence is the one who's like guilty of it. He is, he's so into the gossip.
Yes.
Too.
Yes, he is.
Like, you can't fool anyone, Ned. You're very into it too.
Yeah. Okay. Another top favorite moment in this first episode. Elizabeth and little Jack at home with Bill. Oh, my heart.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Also, I want to note that scene was filmed beautifully. Like it stood out to me, the shots of like little Jack and then Bill, and just so emotional. Like, I mean, Bill and Elizabeth's scenes are always emotional.
Mhm.
I don't know why that is, but they always are. I mean, you have the compass
Yeah.
scene, you
Oh
have
my
the
gosh.
yeah, that one makes me cry. You have the scene where she asks him to be Jack's
Oh,
godfather. You have the scene where he gives the will. You have this scene right here. I'm
I
like,
know.
wow, that's some heavy hitters there.
Yeah, they always have great scenes
They do.
together.
Yeah.
Bill has brought a kite back from Union City for little Jack, and little Jack is playing with it, and it breaks. And he runs over to Elizabeth and he's like, Mommy, it's broken. And they get into some dialogue. And Bill calling Jack Jackaroo.
Oh, so cute. Literally so cute.
And the kiss on the head,
That was really sweet.
like
Oh,
literally my heart melted into a puddle.
yes, yes, that was probably the most emotional moment for me in the episode.
Yeah.
For sure. So sweet.
Yeah. Lucas and Elizabeth in the saloon. This was a sweet moment. I love how Lucas is trying to hide the surprise. Elizabeth comes in and he's like, hey, don't
Yeah.
look.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey." I was like, "Whoa, we never hear Lucas like with that much volume in
No,
his voice." Yeah.
no. They talk about their wedding to-do list, which is like almost a mile long. And Elizabeth suggests eloping, but Lucas says it's a no because of their family and friends, which
Okay.
that was,
I
yes, that was a good
I
call.
was I was shocked honestly when he said no. Cause I was like fully expecting him to be like, oh yeah, we should, but but he was like, no, we're not. I was like, oh, okay, okay. I mean,
Way to go,
yeah,
Lucas.
I was like, you go, Lucas. You want your wedding? You're gonna get your wedding. I was like, okay, okay. Yeah, cause he didn't just say it was for the friends and the family. He said he wanted the wedding too. I was like,
Yes, he
okay, okay.
did.
I appreciate that. I appreciate when a man has, an opinion about the wedding.
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah, he wants his wedding, and I'm like, he's entitled to his opinion too.
yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah. There's been some talk about this. What do you think? Do you think that they are actually going to have a wedding, or do you think that the planning is just going to get to be too much and they're going to end up eloping?
I don't think they're gonna elope, but well, actually, I don't know because I feel like Elizabeth's family is gonna make things really crazy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah, I
And I
see what you're
don't
saying.
think they're in the second half of the season, actually. So
Yeah.
that tells me if it's a fall wedding, you'd think they'd be there. So this is my mind working right now is it could be that they elope, or it could be that the wedding does not happen until season 11.
Yeah,
That's what I'm going with.
it's hard to say because they've been so tight-lipped.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like it's for a reason that they're
Mhm.
tight-lipped, because with the proposal, we all kind of knew it was gonna happen.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, yeah, we all kind of knew that was gonna happen,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Okay. Well, my first thought is I don't think it's going to be as big a thing as it was with Jack and Elizabeth.
Right, I agree.
Like they hyped that up. I mean, for a good reason because everyone had been waiting for that
That
wedding.
was 5 years in the making. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes
But
sense.
I don't think it's going to be hyped up as much.
Right.
So part of me wonders if it's going to be a smaller wedding and
It
they're just,
definitely could be. I
yeah.
think it's very convenient that Lee and Rosemary are the best man and
Mm-hmm,
maid of honor,
mm-hmm.
because it could be that maybe they have a very small, intimate wedding with
Yeah.
just them, or just them and little Jack, them and
And
maybe a few
Bill.
people, and Bill. I mean, I think it is going to be much smaller than it's
Mm-hmm.
sounding right now. Like all the relatives and all of like the families that her parents are going to invite,
Yeah.
they're not coming to Hope Valley. We all know that. Um,
Yeah.
I think
I
it is going
mean,
to be smaller.
Elizabeth's dad, William, he did come to the wedding for Jack and Elizabeth, but I don't know if we would see him again. I mean, of course, it's family, and I'm sure that he and Elizabeth's mom would do their best to be there, but realistically, for the show, I don't think we would see them for the wedding again.
Same with Lucas's parents. I don't think Terrell Rothery was available during this season.
That's a bummer because I love her. She's great.
Yeah, she's fantastic, but I don't think she was available to film the wedding. So I know for a fact his parents, at least, are not going to be there. And I don't think Elizabeth's parents are going to be there. Mm-hmm. And with Julie and Aunt Agatha coming so early in the season, as in the next episode, I just don't see it being that gigantic wedding that they're planning right now.
Yeah. Which is okay, because I don't want it to be a duplicate of Jack and Elizabeth.
Oh, no, I don't think anyone does. And you know what? Now that we're talking about this, I actually want to throw out a theory. I think it might be a very small wedding with just Lee and Rosemary and a few other people in the saloon. Gonna go with that.
Yeah.
That's my theory. You know the shot that we saw of Elizabeth in that white dress with the silver? Yeah. I have a feeling that's the wedding dress. And I have a feeling
it could be.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's gonna be the wedding too. We might have a shotgun wedding. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I also thought, because there's that clip in one of the promos with who appears to be the governor. So it could be a governor's ball too, maybe?
It definitely could,
special event with the governor? I don't know.
It definitely could be. Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. That would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing ideas out there.
I like that idea. But yeah, definitely a lot of possibilities for sure. And the wedding, we do not know at all at this point. So we will see.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to finding out what it's going to be like.
For sure. Yeah. I actually like that they've kept it pretty under wraps, because now it makes me wonder, as opposed to, like, you know, with Jack and Elizabeth's wedding, it was more like, oh, you know, it's going to be in the church, you know, everyone's going to be there, it's going to be, you know, big production. But this one, it's kind of like, oh, we don't know, you know, type thing. So yeah, we'll see.
Moving on to the next scene. We were talking about it just a little bit a few minutes ago, but Lucas asking Lee to be his best man. That was a very sweet moment.
It was very sweet and very random. I mean, I love their friendship.
Me too. Yeah.
But it's like, I don't think we've ever seen them one-on-one before.
Yeah, not that I can remember. There might have been a scene or two in another season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining. I think Lee is the best man to pick for the job. So, you know, definitely not complaining there. And I understand why they did it. It did surprise me a little bit, though.
Yeah.
But in a good way. Way. You know, of course, you know, like, I can't really picture anyone else who he would pick, so.
Yeah, I can't really picture anyone else as best man either. And I love the fact that both Jack and Lucas picked Lee.
Yeah. Classic.
Yes.
Lee is the designated best man.
Yes. The best man of Hope Valley.
Yes. Well, we all know that. Lee is the best.
That could take on like two different meanings.
It could, yeah. It definitely could. But both would be true for Lee.
Yes. Although there's a lot of great men in Hope Valley.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
The community dinner hosted by Lucas and Minnie. This was another favorite moment. Just all around, all the scenes I thought were really nice and well done.
Yeah. It was nice to see, like, little pockets of the characters just, like, interacting. That was really nice.
Yeah. One of them, Elizabeth, asking Rosemary to be her matron of honor, of course. She says, I can't imagine getting married without you by my side. And the mention of Abigail and her sisters, I thought was nice.
Yes. The mention of Abigail made me very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I do have to say, I don't think Elizabeth should have assumed.
No. You don't do that. Your maid of honor has to buy a dress and write a speech. You can't just assume.
Of course.
He has to know.
In the words of Norman Dorman, assume nothing.
Definitely wise words from Norman Dorman.
Should have taken his advice.
I was a little bit I was like, Elizabeth, come on. I know it's your second wedding, but assume nothing, especially when Rosemary's involved.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I appreciated when she actually asked her.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Little Jack dancing with some of the kids, like Opal, Robert, and I think Sarah was kind of standing there. That was really cute.
That was really sweet. I loved that.
Robert, I think, was there. I feel like there was one other character, but I can't remember.
Maybe Toby?
It might have been Toby. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was really cute.
Yeah, that was really sweet.
And to end off Lucas and Elizabeth and Little Jack's storyline for this episode, Lucas and Elizabeth at her home, seeing the Northern Lights.
Yes. That was super sweet. I really liked that scene. And I think the reason I liked it was because she was very attentive to him.
Yeah.
And I liked how he just kind of opened up and he's like, "Oh yeah, I just want to be good enough for you." And she just kind of immediately was like, "Oh, you're incredible," and it was very sweet. It was very, very sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. He says incredible as he's looking up at the Northern Lights, and she says, "Yes, you are."
Yes. It was very sweet.
That was really cute.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked that.
Yes. Moving on to two of our favorites, Nathan and Allie.
Yes.
For this
we had
episode.
A lot of Nathan and Allie scenes in this episode.
We did.
Yeah.
Nathan has a conversation with Fiona in town. Can we just talk about that scene? We can get into it a little bit more in just a few minutes because I have a little bit on Faith, Fiona, and May as well. But the line from Fiona when she says, "Oh, don't worry, we don't talk about you." Hardly ever.
Poor Nathan looks so uncomfortable. Oh. Gotta love it though. When you're the most eligible bachelor in Hope Valley, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. And that was, I think, totally Kevin and Kayla, not Nathan and Fiona.
Oh yeah. Oh, totally. 100%.
Their chemistry.
Their chemistry is off the charts. And I love their scenes because it's never actually Nathan and Fiona. It's always Kevin and Kayla. It's great.
Kev love it. They start talking about his relationship status. He has worked things out with May, but hasn't worked things out with Faith yet. Can we just talk about that? How they didn't really address that on camera. It was off screen.
That was a little bit frustrating. I understand why they did it because basically they're trying to remove the love triangle before it even begins, which I think is great. I think that's fantastic. I'm never going to say anything bad about that. But I do think that just a little more explanation, a little more of showing maybe what happened, maybe some flashbacks. I would have liked, I would have liked to actually know what happened,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and I feel like with Nathan and Faith, I do think there's more to the story that we don't know just yet.
Yeah.
And I think more of that will start to come out in the next episode. As for Nathan and May, though, I would like to know kind of what happened there. Did they date? Did they not date? Did they just kind of decide they are friends? I don't really know.
Yeah, I just wish they had shown more of that.
Yeah.
It kind of bugged me that it was off camera.
Yeah. It bugged me too, but at the same time I understood why they had to do it. Yeah.
Glad that they're not
oh my gosh.
appearing like they're gonna drag out a triangle again.
Thankfully I'm pretty sure, and when I say sure, I'm 90% sure they're not doing a love triangle.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. Shout out to my friend Simone if you're listening. As you say, hashtag team no triangles.
Yeah. If nothing else, it doesn't matter to me who they picked. I mean, obviously I had a preference, but at the end of the day, what I was most hoping for was that we would not have a love triangle. To me, it mattered more that we didn't have a love triangle and less about who he actually ended up with. So.
There's been enough love triangles in Hope Valley.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's start with Jack, Billy, and Elizabeth.
Rosemary, Elizabeth, and Jack.
Yep.
Charles, Jack, and Elizabeth.
Is there one with
Abigail, Frank, and Bill. Abigail, Nora, and Bill. Let me think. There's more. I know there's more.
No.
Oh, Faith, Elizabeth, and Jack, sort of.
Yeah. Bill, Nora, and Henry? I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's one too. Yeah. There was another one. Oh, what is it? I just had Lee, Molly, and Rosemary. Nathan, Lucas, and Elizabeth. There's more. I'm sure that there's more.
Carson, Faith, and I feel like there's somebody else.
Sophia, yeah.
Sophie, or was it Sophia?
Sophia, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a very small one between Jesse, Clara, and Julie, actually. For a tiny millisecond. Not exactly a real one, but we'll add it anyway.
Yes.
Allie, Robert, and Anna. Allie, Robert, and Angela. Oh dear.
Go on and on.
Oh my gosh. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Let's just say the love triangle trope is tired. Let's move on.
Yes, please. No more love triangles in Hope Valley.
Yeah. No, enough is enough. We're good.
Yeah. I love Fiona's line in this scene when she says, if there's nothing there, then why don't you just clear the air? And the best way to do that is by talking.
Yes. I mean, you know what Rosemary says. The key to a successful relationship is communication. So, yeah. I think everyone would agree with that.
Yeah. Can we just briefly talk about Allie chilling in the background?
Yeah.
Listening to the whole conversation.
She's like, ooh, we got the tea going on over there.
And she's like, well, that was awkward. And Nathan's like, shouldn't you be in class?
Yes. That was great. I love how she was just like, Dad, just have some fun, live in the moment. And I think he needs to hear that, because
enjoy
sometimes he gets caught up sometimes in the stress of life.
Yeah.
I think he just needs to have fun.
Yeah. Enjoy life and Carpe Diem. Seize the day.
Exactly.
Nathan is getting a Mountie dog, Scout. He was assigned by Superintendent Hargraves.
Well, when I heard that, I knew it was immediately going to be trouble, especially since the dog is a failed Mountie
dog.
Yeah.
I think he still has it out for Nathan.
Yeah. I you know what? I have to say, I do think that's going to come back later at some point.
Yeah.
The whole Hargraves thing, I really do think that's going to come back
I want
later.
it to as well.
Yeah, I really want that too.
We need to know more about what all that was about in season 8.
Yeah, because it's like, you can't just be mad at him for that for the rest of your life just because he disobeyed orders one time. Come on, there's got to be something else.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, my theory is that where I think it would be a good storyline is that I think Hardgraves has it out for Nathan because Nathan's dad is a criminal.
Ooh,
That's what I think. Possibly.
that's a good theory. Yeah.
Yeah, but you never know. I could
Yeah.
be wrong. I've
Yeah.
been wrong before. So, I just do think though that the Hardgraves thing is going to come back in some
Yeah, I
shape
hope
or
so
form.
at some
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
because we need an explanation.
We do. Yes.
Nathan in his office with Scout. This is another favorite moment. It's like, okay, fine, have it your way. But just so you know, I don't like this any more than you do.
It's like, Nathan, you're so grumpy, but I can understand if it's like, when you have a disobedient child or a disobedient dog or, it's very frustrating.
Yeah. Allie's excitement was hilarious. And
It
Nathan's
was.
like, don't get attached. He's got more attitude than you do. Right. So much attitude.
I love how Nathan is starting to understand what it means for Allie to be a teenager. Whether that means having attitude, having a ton of crushes and getting over them quickly, or which we'll talk more about that later. But I love how he's starting to learn more about it and understand it, because in the past season we know he was a little bit overwhelmed and intimidated by it, he told Faith. But this season, it seems like he finally understands. Okay, she's just a teenager. That's what teenagers do. Yeah. But I think the Scout storyline is going to be pretty funny. I
think so too.
Yeah, I think he and Nathan are going to be besties by the end. And yeah.
Part of me wonders if the dog is going to save the day for something.
You know what? I think you're right. I definitely think that's going to happen.
With Nathan's help, of course.
Of course, yes. But yes, I do think that will happen too.
Yeah. Another favorite moment, Allie's conversation with Elizabeth at the school about her poem. Mm-hmm. That was really sweet.
That was sweet. And I really liked that. Also, I want to make a note, in that scene, you just see how big Jada is now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I know.
She's on the verge of adulthood. I was like, wow. Yeah.
She's growing up.
I feel so old. She grew up. Yeah.
I know. I just think back to how young she was in the movie with Wes Brown and Ashley Newborough. I can't remember the name of it. Love Under the Stars. Yes. I think that's the title of it.
You're right. She was really little in that movie.
That was a good one.
Yeah. I need to watch it. I haven't seen that one. Yeah.
That's a good one. And I think she was also in the Christmas movie from, just talked about this on my previous episode. I think it was 2016, A Heavenly Christmas with Kristen Davis.
Okay, yeah.
That was a good movie too.
Aw. Wow, you're giving me so many movie recommendations. Now I gotta watch that one and the other one and then all of SSD.
Yes. Do it.
Yes, I will.
Thank goodness. Going back to Hope Valley again, we got a little off track with non-When Calls the Heart content, but that's okay. Nathan in his office with Elizabeth. Elizabeth's reaction.
That was hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Like, oh, you got a dog? He's like, no.
Yeah. He's like, that's not my dog.
And the drawing. Can we just talk about how talented Nathan is with his drawing?
Nathan can draw, which is shocking because Jack could draw too.
Okay. First reference, first callback.
Yes.
Because Jack could draw.
Yes. And then there was another reference where Elizabeth was talking about Rip and how stubborn he was. I loved that callback. That was so great.
The last Mountie dog that took up residence here was equally as stubborn. Rip!
I never thought there would be another Mountie dog as stubborn as Rip, but I think Scout might actually be a contender.
Yeah. Was it the very first episode? I think it was episode 1 of the series when Jack is walking through town and Rip is just like hanging in the street and he's like, "Come on, Rip."
Yes. You're right. It is the first episode.
Rip Van Winkle.
Because he's sleeping all the time. That was great.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Miss Jack.
I
so
love how
much.
this time around it's almost like the roles are reversed,
Mhm.
where the dog will respond to her this time, whereas Nathan, the Mountie, the dog is not responding to. And
Yeah.
in Jack and Elizabeth's case, it was like Jack the Mountie, like the dog would like listen to whatever Jack said. But then
Yeah.
Elizabeth, it was like she was struggling with the dog obeying her. Now it's like the roles are switched, and I love it. I think it's so funny.
One of my favorite Jack, Elizabeth, and Rip scenes is from, I think it was the season 3 movie, the New Year's movie, when Elizabeth says that she's going to, I think, watch Rip, and they're at the schoolhouse and they go in for a kiss and Rip barks.
He's like, "Oh, he's jealous."
Yeah. And then
That was
Elizabeth
great.
starts walking out of the school and Jack kind of nods to Rip and he's like, and Rip just like follows him.
Yes. That was great. I loved that. Definitely one of my favorite Rip, Jack, and Elizabeth scenes too. Super funny.
Oh my gosh. And the line about the sign, "Adopt me?"
Yeah. The way she said it, I literally laughed out loud. Like they're fighting over the thing, and then she's like, "Adopt me?" I was like, "Yeah, that was good delivery on Erin's part."
Yeah, their
That was
chemistry will always be great.
It will always be great. Yeah, it's probably because they're really good friends in real life.
Yeah,
so that definitely helps. Yeah.
The last moment for Nathan and Allie's storyline in this episode is Elizabeth reading Allie's poem, which that is another favorite moment in this episode. Allie's poem, it says, "Carpe diem and seize the day. So the ancient poets say, we have this moment, so make it count. Never mind when troubles mount. We'll help each other through thick and thin. Blessed to have the moment we're in." That is a good poem.
It was a very good poem. Better than any poem I've ever written, that's for sure. Yeah.
And from the look on Nathan's face, I bet he knew it was Allie's.
Oh, he did. He definitely did. He kind of like, you see the eyebrow and he's like, "Huh, that sounds familiar." And then he kind of looks at Allie and he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
That was sweet.
He knew, yeah. That's a dad's intuition.
Yeah.
He knew. Yeah.
And the dance. Can we just talk about the short little dance?
I mean, of course, part of me is like, I wanted to see Nathan and Faith dance, but at the same time, I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad because Nathan and Allie got to dance.
Yeah.
Super sweet.
I love how he starts to go in to ask Faith.
He's like wiping his hands, like ready to go. And then Allie is just like, "Come on, Dad." I think if Allie knew what was actually going on, she wouldn't have interrupted.
Yeah, but go, Dad.
Yeah.
Go get your woman.
Go ahead. Carpe diem.
Yep. And speaking of Faith, Fiona, and May, we really don't get a lot of them in this episode, but we do get a few mentions and a few scenes with them. They are moving in above the cafe. Minnie offered them the rooms. Also, question. I thought there were only 2 rooms above the cafe.
That's what I thought too. And I thought Anna was living up there.
I
Apparently
know.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Has Anna become a victim of the black hole? Please say no.
She probably has. I don't know. I hope not. But yeah, I'm starting to think, yeah, she probably has, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, because I love
I
him.
know in season 9 she did imply that she would leave at some point. It wasn't like she wanted to stay in Hope Valley permanently. She just wasn't ready to leave just yet. I know she said that. But still, you don't want to go out in like black hole fashion where you just disappear.
There have been too many characters that have fallen into the black hole.
Literally, I can think of at least 5.
Okay, let's do
it. Let's do this. Yeah. We have Dottie Ramsey. We have Nora. Nora just kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Mary and DeWitt Graves and Caleb.
Yes, that was a big loss. Yeah, they were my favorite. I was
Kat Montgomery.
Okay, that's a crime. She was a great character.
I love Kat.
I love Kat. I watched season 1 again, like in preparation for season 10, and I was so mad that they got rid of Kat. Also, I wanna say Frank kind of did, sort of, although he did get a send off.
Yes, he did. I'm glad that they did that because
I'm still sad that he left, though.
Yeah. Let's see. Who else?
I guess
a handful of the Hope Valley kids. The names aren't coming to me. I'm not going to say Rosaline because Rosaline's coming back. So.
Yeah. Ooh. I guess you could technically say Charles.
I was about to say Charles.
Because Charles, you see him propose and then you never see or hear about him again. Except in that one wood chopping scene where he and Elizabeth are having it out. Other than that, you don't see him ever again.
Oh gosh. Now don't quote me on this. I could be wrong. But I feel like I heard somewhere in an interview with Marcus, it might have been on Heartie's hotline. Shout out to Cammy and Sarah if you're listening. We love you.
Yes, we love you.
I think he said when he was asked about this and his whereabouts in the Hope Valley world, I feel like he said something like, what if he was on the Titanic?
No! Oh my gosh! No! Oh, that's horrible! Oh my gosh! So he went down with Mary Crawley's first fiance in Downton Abbey. That's terrible! Oh my gosh!
I don't want to think that, and I apologize if I'm wrong.
I don't want to think that either. Oh my gosh! Wow, that's. Oh boy. I don't know how I feel about that.
If that's the case, that would have been character number 2 for Marcus, where he died.
Yes. Yeah.
Ride being the other one. Now that is a travesty because Marcus is a fantastic actor.
I remember watching that episode of Ride, and when he died, spoiler alert, in the first scene, I was like,
are you kidding me?
I was like, you're having Marcus Rosner in your show and you're going to kill him in the first episode. Why? I'll never understand that.
I am glad that they showed him throughout the season, though.
Yeah, that's true. It didn't quite make up for it, but, at least he was there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Going back to Faith, Fiona, and May.
Yes.
The last part of their storyline for this episode, the girl talk in the cafe, that was really cute.
That was fun.
They are talking about Nathan and Carson. Fiona has a great quote in this scene, and it is, real love is worth waiting for.
Yes. And part of me, since this is the first episode, part of me believes that is going to be the overarching theme for Nathan and Faith's story in season 10, because both of them have waited, or I mean, I guess Faith hasn't waited, but she hasn't found successful love or real love up until this point. And I know Nathan has waited and tried to find love, but I think that's going to be very relevant to both of them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Moving on to my favorite couple in Hope Valley, Lee and Rosemary.
Aw, yes.
Lee has a conversation with Joseph. They are running out of places to store the lumber from the mill, and Lee suggests they give their men a few days of paid vacation, but Joseph says that's not a long-term solution to the problem that they're having. What did you think about this?
I think to me it was almost like a callback to season 2 when Lee came to the town and opened the sawmill, and basically he was hiring everybody.
Yep.
And he saved the town.
Yes,
by
he did.
that. And here we have Lee once again saving the town's economy, and at his own personal expense, because clearly they're cutting more lumber than they can sell.
Yeah.
And I it just makes me admire Lee so much. Like,
yes,
he always comes through for the town. Always.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Like, you have other people in the town like coming through in like small ways and do whatever, but Lee once again is the actual like hero behind it all, where he's employing everybody, and I love that.
Yeah, Lee is a great character, and I love how humble he is about it.
Yeah, I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Also, quick note, I'm glad Lee is back at the sawmill.
Yes.
And I'm glad he's not, like stuck in his office anymore. I really like that he's at the sawmill again. I think that just works better for him.
Yeah. Another new character, Brant. Just a brief little cameo from him. He gives Lee a drawing of a baby sweater from Rosemary and is thankful for the job at the mill. Thought that was a nice little moment.
Okay, can we see more of Brant, please?
Yes.
Because, I mean, where has he been? And I want to see more about him.
He's a great actor too.
Yeah.
I think he's been in a couple of Hallmark movies.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah.
He's a good actor, right? And not a bad looking guy either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, more of him, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lee at the Valley Voice with Rosemary. Lee is worried, but Rosemary lets him know he's doing the right thing, hiring all the men. This was really sweet when Rosemary says, "All I need is you, and of course our baby, happy and healthy."
Yes, I love that. I love that they're including the baby into their conversations. It's just like, you can tell the excitement has been building, and now it's just kind of like a part of their lives. Like, they're like, "Oh, the baby, yay!" They're so excited, and it's so sweet.
Yeah. Elizabeth comes by to drop off Rosemary's article, "A Day in the Life of a Frontier Teacher."
And she's like, "Oh, well, maybe I won't have to publish it at all." I'm like, "Whoa, okay, Rosemary."
Yeah, she says, "And with any luck, I'll never even have to publish it. Or maybe a day in the life might become a trend. Teaching the teachers of the frontier. It could be a hit, or it could be a pleasant fluff piece."
Yeah. Let's just say Rosemary has no filter.
Yeah. Rosemary is definitely being Rosemary.
Yes. But at the same time, I do understand where she's coming from, because sometimes when you're publishing, you have to print pieces that might not always be super relevant, but you have to keep producing. And so sometimes you have to put out something that maybe you're kind of like, it's not my best work, but I need to give my readers something.
Yes.
So I understand where she's coming from, but also the no filter is hilarious and very,
it is
very Rosemary.
Yes, and we can talk a little bit about that in a few minutes, because we're about to get to another no filter Rosemary scene.
Yes.
But before we move on to that, Elizabeth asks Lee if he could try offering Richard Wolf a job again. Because, of course, at this point, we know from Robert that they are planning to move to Cape Fullerton.
Now, here's what had me confused, is that I thought Robert's dad was already working for Lee. Did he leave for the oil company? Because I don't remember that happening.
He could have, or maybe he was with the oil company all along. I would have to go back and watch.
Because I know when I rewatched season 6, he was working for Lee, but he was upset that he wasn't getting shares from Henry for the oil, and that's why he shut the gate, even though Lee is working for
Oh yeah, that's
Lee.
right.
So
I
I
know.
was a little confused why he wasn't working for Lee anymore.
Yeah.
But of course, in Lee fashion, he holds no grudges, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter whether they've
Mhm.
worked there and then
Yeah.
left. He'll bring anybody back on.
Yeah. The talk of the maternity clothes. Elizabeth offers to give Rosemary hers. The reaction was priceless.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was pretty
Oh
funny.
my gosh.
She's like, "I am not Dusty Rose."
Rose.
Yeah.
And that was
I had
the
to
next
laugh because
scene.
the cast actually posted a video of them having a watch party. And it
Yeah,
was that moment where she's
scene.
like, "I am not Dusty Rose." And everyone in the room starts like laughing.
Cracking up, yeah.
Yeah. I think I could especially hear Ben in the background just like laughing.
Yes.
It was very funny.
Yeah. And let's just talk about that scene. They are at home. They are talking about the cherry cobbler with the prunes soaked in beet juice.
Yeah. To be honest, if it wasn't prunes, it wouldn't sound that bad. But I hate prunes, so yeah, it doesn't work for me. If it was literally anything else, maybe it would work. But I'm with Lee on this one where, yeah, no.
Yeah. Also, I feel like the prunes mention was a callback to, was it season 8 or season 9? When
Season 9, yeah.
they're taking the photo and Rosemary says, "Say prunes."
Part of me is wondering, was that her craving? Because at that point she was pregnant, so maybe she just had prunes on the mind.
Even think about that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't know.
And then, of course, Elizabeth brings over her maternity clothes. Again, the reaction.
Yeah.
She will be keeping them all. And then, I am not meant to be Dusty Rose.
Yes. That was pretty funny.
Yes. The moment after Elizabeth leaves is so sweet. They feel the baby kick, and Rosemary says, "We are on a big adventure," and Lee agrees. Yeah. And then I think he kisses her belly, which was sweet.
That was probably my favorite Lee and Rosemary moment of this episode.
Yeah.
Was, them feeling the baby kick.
Yeah.
Because my sister actually recently just was pregnant and gave birth. And for me, one of my favorite parts about being an aunt is getting to feel the baby kick before the baby's born.
Yeah.
And it's so fun because, you don't know what it's going to be. And kind of like, oh, if it's a boy, kick an extra in there. Or, oh, if it's a girl, it's always fun.
Lee and Rosemary at home again. They are talking about Lucas being his best man and how Elizabeth hasn't asked Rosemary to be her maid of honor. This quote had me cracking up. She loves them. She just loves me more.
That is the most Rosemary thing I've ever heard. She loves them, but she loves me more. So great. I love that.
Oh my gosh. That is a best friend line right there.
Oh yeah. And it's true. It's true. I mean, Rosemary's been with Elizabeth through thick and thin.
Yeah.
So
I think we have talked about this on the podcast before, or at least I have, when reviewing season 9. But can we just talk about how far those two have come? Because so far.
Yes. Just the fact that Elizabeth doesn't get offended anymore by Rosemary's lack of filter, and it just kind of brushes it off. That just shows how much they've grown.
Yes.
And even though I wasn't a fan of Elizabeth just assuming that Rosemary was going to be the matron of honor, it just shows she's so close with her that she was just like, oh yeah, of course. Is that even a question? Yeah. So it was sweet in its own way.
Yeah. Just looking back from that first scene when she steps out of the stagecoach.
Yes.
And Elizabeth's like, oh, who's your fiance? And
yes.
Elizabeth sees Jack, and Rosemary sees that Elizabeth sees Jack, and Rosemary turns around and she's like, Jack!
Yes. That is classic. Yes. And looking back, it's crazy how far they've come.
That face that Elizabeth makes is priceless.
Yeah, she's just like, no.
And the look on Jack's face when he sees that it's Rosemary, he's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
What is she doing here?
What? Yeah, you just see pure panic. He's like, oh no.
He's like, oh great.
Oh man. One of the few times we see Jack out of his element.
To end off Lee and Rosemary in this episode, we mentioned this early on in the episode, but the dyeing of the Dusty Rose dress to purple.
Which unequivocally was probably done by Beet Juice. Even if it wasn't said, it was implied, I'm sure.
Yeah. I thought they had some great scenes in this episode.
They did. And I feel like this is really kind of like, not that it's not an ensemble show, but I feel like this is kind of their season,
Yeah.
Like they're having the baby.
It's a big season for them.
Yeah, it is huge for them. So I'm glad that they're getting this much focus.
Me too.
It's nice.
The Canfields, we didn't get a lot of them in this episode. We got a couple scenes, but the ones we did get, I thought were really nice. Cooper leaving an hour before school, and Minnie's like, where are you?
Yeah.
And this is the same scene when Joseph and Minnie are talking to Florence and Molly about the surprise that can't be spoiled.
Yes.
With the turnips and the beets.
Yes. I did think that was another callback, all of those turnips like on the table. Like I feel like turnips is the equivalent in When Calls the Heart of pineapples and Psych, where they just kind of pop up everywhere. Like remember in season 1 when Elizabeth takes a big
I was about to say that.
Yeah. You have Elizabeth taking a chunk out of the turnip, and then you have Nathan in the beginning of season 7. He's like got a turnip in his hand and he's like turning it over in his hand and then hands it back to like the
was that the first episode
stand. Yes, it was. Yeah, so I feel like turnips is just kind of a thing, so I definitely was snickering a little bit when I saw all those turnips on the cafe counter. That was pretty funny.
The last moment for the Canfields is Joseph's speech and prayer at the dinner, which I really loved. This was another favorite moment. He says, if we put our heads in our hearts and our hands together, there's nothing we can't accomplish. Let us ask for humility to accept a little help. Let us be thankful for community. For this is where we find safety. And let us always remember to do justly, love mercy, and to always walk humbly before God. Let us give thanks.
I loved that. And I loved when everyone took hands and like bowed their head. It was just so sweet.
Yeah.
And
little Jack, he's like, take my hand, mommy.
So cute. So cute. Yeah. I love when Joseph is in like pastor mode, if that makes any sense. Like when he's actually acting as the pastor, I feel like that's the best role for him.
Yeah. A little bit about the Wolves going into their storyline. We already talked about them moving to Cape Fullerton. Lee does ask Richard to reconsider the job offer, but he still declines until the end of the episode when he changes his mind. And they're staying in Hope Valley.
Yes. I was very, very happy when they decided to stay.
Me too. And Sarah asking her dad to dance with her. That was so cute.
That was really sweet. Yeah. Because I remember when Sarah was first born. Was
season 5. Christmas movie. Yeah.
Christmas movie. Yeah. Yeah. She's another Christmas baby.
Yes.
I feel like all the babies in Hope Valley are born on Christmas. Except for Lee and Rosemary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably not on Christmas for them, hopefully.
Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a long pregnancy for poor Rosemary. I don't think she would do well with that, but yeah, it is pretty funny.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to Henry and Bill's storyline? There's kind of coincided a little bit in this episode.
Yeah. Which anyone who knows me knows that before the season started, I was very much like, I want to see more of Henry and Bill together.
Mm-hmm.
And we got that.
A lot in this episode.
Yeah. What surprised me about it was that Henry actually seemed like he was the more at peace between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he was more of like taking the counselor mode, which is different for him.
Yeah.
But I really liked that. And
yeah, me too.
I didn't like seeing Bill kind of like spiral a little bit. I didn't really like that. It made me kind of sad. I'm like, oh, poor Bill. But at the same time, you know, he had some good chats with Henry.
Yeah. Let's start off with Henry. The moment in Nathan's office with him and Bill. I love how he just walks into his jail cell on his own.
Yeah, and Nathan's like, come on, I told you, you don't have to be here.
I mean, of course, I don't like seeing him in jail, but I just thought it was kind of funny.
It is funny, yeah.
How he just walks in there on his own.
Yeah.
It kind of, I think, maybe might be a callback to season 9. Yeah. When he just walks in after going to get the newspaper.
Yeah. He's just like, oh, good morning. How's it going? Here's the paper. And Nathan's just like, okay. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I think it also shows some growth on Nathan's part, actually, to just be like, you know, just because you're a criminal according to the law doesn't mean you're a bad person. You can't be trusted, which I think is a big growth for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is part of the terms of his probation that he stay in the jail. But like we were kind of just talking about, according to Nathan, he doesn't have to do that anymore because the terms have changed.
Yeah. Of course, he still will, but.
Yes. Some good news from the court in Union City from Bill. They have agreed to a pretrial hearing in Hope Valley in 2 weeks. Bill won't be presiding for obvious reasons, but it does give them a chance to get the charges dismissed.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to see the trial.
I think we probably will, just because we already know that Jerome Smith, who was in charge of the foundry, is going to show up again.
Yep.
So I know that he's going to be there. I'm guessing Lucas will somehow be involved as well, and likely Fiona too. I do think that this will be a big storyline for Henry and Bill.
Yeah.
Actually, well, Bill actually might not be involved as much, but I think it is going to be a big storyline for anyone who was in the oil company last year. And I do think there is going to be a trial.
Yeah. Now, I could be wrong because I haven't seen season 6 in a while. I think it was season 6. But I wonder if Kevin O'Grady's character is going to show up again. Because I remember when they did that whole court scene, I think in the beginning of season 6, he was in there as one of the lawyers, I think.
Possibly. What part did he play?
I think he might have been an attorney, maybe on Henry's side, but I can't remember for sure. I would have to
remind me what other roles Kevin has played.
Kevin O'Grady was in Garage Sale Mysteries. He played the detective. Okay.
So that was actually way back in season...
Or was that season 5?
5, I want to say, when Henry was on trial for embezzlement.
Yes, now
I would love to see him again. I would love to see him again because he was my favorite character on Garage Sale Mysteries.
Yeah.
I would love to see him again. I don't think it's going to happen. But
it's unlikely, but I was just throwing that idea out there.
Right. I mean, he was the most favorable lawyer for Henry, so I think it would be wise, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
He is looking at 6 years in prison, and it's a long shot to get the charges dropped. Unfortunately. I hope that they do get dropped. But
Yeah, I think especially since did the foundry owners even own the mine technically?
oh gosh.
Because if they didn't, it would basically be up to the town.
Yeah.
And obviously the town was happy that he blew the mine to Kingdom Come. So
Yeah.
I don't think they can hold him to, a
Mhm.
crime if they don't own the actual mine.
That makes sense. Yeah. I hope
Yeah.
that the foundry doesn't.
Like if they own the mine,
Yeah.
that's going to be a problem, but if they
Mhm.
don't,
Yeah.
it's pretty cut and dry. Henry's
Mhm.
not going to jail for that. So,
I mean, I think I said this before. I don't condone law breaking, but he did the right thing
right. He did. Yeah.
because that mine has caused a lot of pain in that
Yeah.
town.
Yeah. In fact, I don't even consider that law breaking because they probably should have done that in the first place. Like,
Yeah, why didn't they
after
do
they,
that?
I don't know, because I guess nobody wanted to spend the money on all that dynamite. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably could have cost money to do that.
Yeah. You think about it, that mine was sitting there for 9 years,
Mhm.
so everybody who was involved in that case doesn't remember anymore.
Mhm.
And or either died, like the judge who,
Mhm.
decided on that. It
Oh, yes, that's
basically,
right. Yes.
yeah. So
Judge
anyone,
Parker.
there's no memory of that case really. So
Mhm.
of course
Yeah.
they're going to try and open it
Mhm.
10 years after it's just
Mhm.
been sitting there.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to be able to make the charges stick because they don't own the
Yeah.
rights to the mine.
Yeah.
Is my theory anyway.
Yeah.
Because you, part of me is like, how would they build the foundry and justify buying the mine at the same time? You know,
Yeah.
they were trying to keep it under wraps that they were
Yeah.
opening the mine up again,
Yeah.
and that'd be kind of impossible if they bought the mine.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of Henry doing the right thing with blowing up the mine, I thought this brief conversation with Elizabeth in town about the pretrial hearing was nice. She said that he did the right thing and he doesn't deserve all that's been happening. I thought that was
Yeah.
really nice
I
to
think it
see
was
her
just her
support.
way of reassuring him that all of the people who lost their jobs and stuff, it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
Like he was doing them a favor. You know?
They've
Yeah.
had some really nice moments over the
Yes.
years.
They have. Yeah.
The conversation with Elizabeth and little Jack in town. Little Jack wants to know if he's coming to the surprise, but Henry isn't sure yet if he'll be there. Henry calling little Jack, Jack. Oh, my heart.
So cute. Another
He's
callback
like, bye-bye,
too.
Jack.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This moment with Bill and Henry in Henry's office. He looks at the photo of him and Christopher, and then the talk about both of their situations. This kind of made me.
Yeah. That was very emotional.
Yeah.
And I really liked that conversation.
Me too.
It was a little hard to watch because I find all of the scenes where Bill is struggling to be really hard because he reminds me very much of my dad.
Oh.
And my dad actually went through 2 bouts with really bad pneumonia and almost died both times.
Wow.
And so when I see Bill like going through that, it's very hard for me. So this scene really hit home. I was like, this is so hard. But I was happy Henry was like there with him,
Henry says, "You're a good man, Bill. Enjoy your time. It's a gift." Also, can we talk about how far those two have come? Because they've come so far.
They really have. And usually it's Bill who's kind of in charge of the situation.
Yeah.
This time it's like Bill is the one who needs help and Henry is there for him, which has never happened ever, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah. I still remember one of their first scenes. I think Bill was doing his investigating at the end of season 1 in the mine. And Henry shows up and he's like, you can't be here, blah, 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 blah. You need to leave.
Yeah. It's crazy, like, to think back what they used to be.
He has a conversation in town with Faith. He's acting like all is well with his health, but she mentions that Dr. Murphy's office called to let her know he didn't show up for his appointment. Bill thinks he just shouldn't bother because they all say the same thing. Basically, he doesn't want everyone to fuss over him.
Yeah. It actually reminds me, Bill's reaction to it all, it reminds me a lot of early on in Chesapeake Shores when Nell does not want to be, like, looked at for her drop in blood pressure in the first season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
remember
she's like,
that.
I'm not going to doctors. I'm just going to live my life, and I don't want to know
I
if there's
remember
anything
that.
wrong. And I'm getting those vibes from Bill, too. He's kind of like, I don't want to know. I don't want
Mhm.
to know anymore. But, yeah, I could see why Bill would feel that way, because I guess,
Yeah.
it's looking pretty bleak. But, yeah.
I'm going to stay positive and say that Jack Wagner is not going anywhere, but there's like a
I don't think
tiny
There's
part of
always
me.
that tiny thing. Although Aaron did say that nobody dies in this season, which is
That's
good.
good. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't
Aaron
need
did say that. Yeah, I'm like, no, we don't need another death. We're good.
Please, no.
Yeah, she confirmed. She's like, yeah, I know we have history of characters dying, so I'm just gonna confirm now that that's not happening. I'm like, thank you, Aaron.
Please.
We appreciate that.
And especially not Bill, please.
Yeah, Bill, that would be rough.
That would be
very, very rough. I don't know how I would handle that. I'd probably need to take a week off to recover.
another OG.
You're like, oh no, can't do that. No.
Another OG.
Yeah. Oh man,
Cast
that would be
member.
rough. Mm-hmm.
But I don't think so. At least not this season.
I don't think that's happening. Yeah.
On to a little bit lighter of a scene with Bill and Elizabeth in his office. She suggests the two of them check out the swimming hole. His reaction and her saying, I'll meet you in an hour. It's a date.
That was sweet. And
yeah.
I love how Elizabeth is so focused on helping people in this episode. It just, it felt very much like old Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I loved that. That was so sweet. Yes, bringing the cane. I was like, I'm not an invalid. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was pretty funny.
The conversation at the swimming hole, or the hot springs, I should say. They see Cooper and Toby. They realize it's a hot spring. I love Bill's reaction to Cooper and Toby in the hot spring.
It's like, they're gonna drown.
And they stand up, and Elizabeth's like, Bill, I think they're gonna be fine.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
And then it gets a little bit deeper with the talk about his health. All the doctors can agree on is that there's something wrong with his lungs. They just don't know what. Bill believes all the investigations in the mines didn't help much.
Mm-hmm. He probably believes it's like miner's cough, which is
I've never heard of that.
It's something that used to happen a lot. I think it may still happen a lot, but a lot of miners who work with coal, especially, the little particles of coal penetrate their lungs, and it basically has a similar effect to smoking, but it's a condition that basically it just gets worse and worse until you eventually die.
That's depressing.
Oh yeah, it's super depressing. There actually has been a character on One Calls the Heart who had miner's cough already.
Oh wow.
It was the meteorologist, I believe, who came to inspect the mine for Jerome Smith, the one with the Scottish accent.
Oh yeah.
So he had miner's cough,
Oh,
And the
wow.
reason why he was able to be bought off by Jerome Smith was because he knew he was dying already.
Mm.
And so he needed money to pay for his kids and stuff.
Mm.
And I
That's
think Henry
depressing.
believes it's a similar thing.
Mm.
But personally, I don't believe it's that. Bill was
I
like in the
hope
mine
not.
for what, like a week? I don't think
Maybe.
that's, yeah, I don't
If
think
that.
that's, exactly. I don't think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And if he had it, then why wouldn't Elizabeth had it? She was in the mine basically as much. So.
Yeah, I mean, she was in there when she went to get Rosaline, and then she was in there with the rainstorm and the season 2 finale for.
Well, also you have Molly and Florence who were literally working in the mine in season
Yep.
1.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth was there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Abigail.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
I don't know how many hours. And then, like I just mentioned, season 2.
Exactly.
With her and Jack.
That was like 2 weeks, right? And they pretty much spent all of the 2 weeks in the mine.
Oh yeah, that was like 2 weeks.
So yeah, if Bill has miner's cough, they would all have miner's cough too. Yeah. So I don't think that's what it is.
Yeah. There was that scene, I think it was in season 9, when he coughs up blood. Part of me wonders if it's tuberculosis.
Yeah, that definitely, I think, crossed everyone's mind.
I don't know a lot about that. I don't know if
let's just say if that's what it is, his chances are not good either. At least back then. Nowadays, it's curable.
Yeah.
And it can take over 6 months to cure. But back then, they didn't have a cure, so yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people back then died from that.
Yeah. Now, if it's something like bronchitis, that's curable.
Yeah.
And it could be. You never
know. Or
know.
pneumonia. I mean, Jack recovered from pneumonia.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So it's definitely curable if it's something like that. If it's TB or miner's cough, it's not
He's in
curable.
trouble.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. He might have to go to the seaside. Maybe that would help.
Maybe. Or
the hot springs.
I was about to say that. I wonder if the hot springs are going to cure him.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure that'll be the solution.
Yeah.
So.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did love Elizabeth's line to Bill in this scene when she says, "We don't know what's to come, but there is one thing you can do, and that is be open to new experiences. Live life in the moment. Carpe diem." And he's like, "Carpe what?" And she's like,
"Carpe what now?" Yes.
That was sweet.
That was sweet.
And then the last 2 clips of him to end off the episode, he starts to join the party at the saloon, but decides not to. And then he falls back in the hot springs as he says, "Oh,
Carpe
what the heck?
diem.
Seize the day."
Yes. That was.
Or Carpe diem. Yeah.
That was really something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, the sight of Bill in his long johns, just like.
I know.
Pull out, just like backflopping into the springs was. Yeah. I don't think we've ever seen anything like that on Heart before. Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it was an overall good episode.
Yeah. I'd say my one critique, and this is like totally like just me being a little bit picky, is just I do feel like it was a little bit boring. But this is the first episode, so I'm not too picky about that.
Yeah.
I'm not too picky about that. In fact, I'm not complaining at all.
Yeah, but, I can see where you would think that.
Yeah. But the thing is, I know it's going to pick up.
Yeah.
Really, really soon, as in the next episode, I think it's going to pick up. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say as a premiere, great episode.
Yeah, I would give it 7.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I gave it 6.5 on my reaction. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I gave it something like that.
I think it was 6 maybe out of 10. 6 or 6.5. Yeah.
Yeah. I did really enjoy it though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about the preview for next week a little bit.
Oh boy.
Or this week, I should say.
Yes.
The big 100th episode.
I cannot believe it. It's crazy.
Not every show gets to this point, which is amazing.
No. Yeah. No, it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
The preview for next week. Rosemary suggests making the hot springs a tourist destination. Julie
and Bill's like, no.
Yeah. Julie and Aunt Agatha are back, and we see a clip of Elizabeth talking to Rosemary about how she basically wants Agatha to like Lucas. We get a clip of Agatha. If there were ever a man destined for a larger stage, Julie, they thought Lucas would accept a job from father and he'd move home.
Oh no.
And then Elizabeth, are you tempted? Lucas, it's quite an offer.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's like Jack 2.0. They're doing it again. I guess the thing that's like different this time around is that Lucas could potentially want to. I know he's not going to, but he could be interested. And Elizabeth knows that, and she's actually worried this time around that he'll accept. Whereas last time with Jack, she was encouraging him to actually think about it. Yeah. Which it shows how different she is now.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah, it's crazy that this is happening again. I fully expected this to happen. But then when it happened, I was like, whoa, we're going there. Okay.
I don't think it's going to happen because the show is basically Elizabeth's story.
Oh, yeah. No, I know he's not going to take the job. I was just shocked that her family actually is like,
And it would be over if she moved back home.
It would. Or if Lucas left. Although I can't see him doing that. I'd be like, why would you be working for Elizabeth's family if you just left? No, it's not going to happen. Totally not going to happen. It's going to be interesting.
Good episode, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be good.
I'm excited to see Julie and Aunt Agatha back.
Me too. Yeah. Although I do think it's a little weird that Aunt Agatha's kind of, playing the game that Elizabeth's family is like trying to rope her back in, which she didn't seem like that back in season 2.
Season 2.
Yeah, like she was the one who was like, oh,
all about Jack
is what, all about Jack, and then she's like, oh, scandal is what gets me up in the morning and things like that. Like she was the one that kind of stood out a little bit. And it kind of surprised me that she's now like toting the like, oh, Lucas got a job, I think. So we'll see how that plays out. It's interesting.
Agatha was a highlight of season 2 for me.
Oh yeah, I love Aunt Agatha. She's so funny.
And I had to shout out the Postables because the lady that plays Aunt Agatha was Senator Cranky Pants in The Impossible Dream.
That's great. Oh my gosh.
That's the Postables nickname for her. Senator
That
Cranky
is
Pants.
Hilarious. Yeah, I figured it was a nickname.
Well, this was so much fun. Thank you, Theresa, for joining me and being my guest co-host for this season. I'm excited to get into the rest of the season with you.
Yes, I'm very excited, especially, for next week and getting to talk to you about it. It's going to be great.
All right, Hearties, I think that wraps up our review of Season 10, Episode 1, Carpe Diem. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more about our thoughts on When Calls the Heart, or any of my reviews on Hallmark movies, you can like this episode and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.